Hey son, and welcome to Rauta's AMA, which is asking me anything video. As the thing always is with this opinion and ask me anything videos, I need a beer, some quality one. I don't do that crazy cheap lager shit. So let's start with some Riesling people. That is Mikkeller's IPA with some Riesling grapes, which I'm gonna enjoy while replying to your questions. Um, as always, my pouring skills are not that good, and I'm also a lazy person. But cheers to all of you who have tuned in. It's time to reply to questions you have been sending me through various channels, Discord, on YouTube, comments, and Facebook and whatnot. I don't even remember. But cheers, here we go. What a nice tasting, fruity IPA. So, the first question, and I'm pretty much reading these, how these were sent to me. First question, my friend, can you make a video explaining what discipline means for you and why it is important? This was all obviously related to my tattoo here, which Mille from Creator actually pointed out for some things. Well, I'm not gonna make a video out of discipline, that's way beside the point in metal channel, but let's put it this way. People should have, and most people have, at least to a certain extent, sort of a backbone that they use in order to, cope in life. When there's like, I don't feel like doing that, I've lost my motivation and all that stuff. You need discipline to handle your crap in life. It might be about, as everyday thing, as cleaning your house, your room, or wherever you're dwelling, and it also might be related to, like, I don't feel like going for a jog today. I don't feel like doing my workout routine, etc. It can be very high level thing, or it can be very everyday thing. And to me, discipline is this kind of a very much in the essence of the word. It's just kind of your mental backbone. You just do the stuff you're supposed to do and make no excuses, make no bullshit reasons why not to do something. If you're bound to do something, do it. Save the excuses for the weaker kind, weaker people, whatever. So hope that replies to that question. If not, I'm totally eager to explain it to more depth. Second question was, what do you listen besides metal music? Now that's a really good question, because obviously this channel is all about metal music. It's about albums I review, bands that I interview, and then some opinions about metal. But what if there might be something else than just listening to metal? Well, I must say I don't these days listen too much music outside metal. But when I do have the time, I do enjoy a lot of music that have nothing to do with metal. Maybe the most important genre would be soundtrack music. Movies, sometimes TV series, and definitely video game music. Those are the type of music which are not always the same genre. Sometimes it's very symphonic, sometimes it's more atmospheric, kind of ambient-like. Sometimes it's totally different. For example, in Western movies, Western games, been playing Red Dead Redemption 2, it's Western music, so it totally depends. But my favorite kind of non-metal music, which is usually soundtrack music, from the classic movies such as Conan the Barbarian, Star Wars obviously, and many soundtracks made by Mr. Zimmer, because I mean I do like the kind of a bombastic, kind of very big, orchestral music. But I also do like a lot of minimal dark ambient, which means, for me at least, no rhythms, no percussions, no riffs, no melodies, definitely no vocals, that is absolutely no singing. Uh, that is also a genre. I know it's a very marginal one, but a kind of a genre which I do like very much, mainly because it's kind of a dark atmosphere, the kind of a darkness embodiment. That is very much one of my favorites. But there are also more like more popular music, like I can enjoy a lot of like Pink Floyd. Then I might mention Depeche Mode, especially its darkest kind of stuff. So it might be even pop music I listen to. It's not that much, but still. Then obviously some classic rock. Well, not maybe on hard rock side more than just plain simple rock. But these kind of stuff. I might even enjoy some old school rap, gangster rap stuff like NWA and the like. But really, really rarely. And of course, there are like these one-hit wonders. I might, enjoy songs like Boys of Summer and the stuff like that. I don't know what else really, because my time is very limited with these metal albums all the time. So while I do enjoy soundtrack music a lot and dark ambient and whatever, I rarely listen to that. But sometimes when I, for example, drive my car and I just, connect my Bluetooth, phone to my Bluetooth system in my car, it might just randomly play some soundtrack music, for example. So yes, I do listen to that, but not that much as metal. Then there was a third question: what are my favorite PS4 games? Well, that could be quite a list, but if I just list like 10 out of 10 games, if I should be giving a score, for example, Grand Theft Auto 5 is definitely my favorite until now. I do like open world games in general, and the type of games that give me a lot of freedom to do stuff. Red Dead Redemption 2 is very much on the same level. I haven't yet finished it. I'm not even halfway through, but it's probably gonna be among my favorite PS4 games. And I think the late Spider-Man, it was really, really, really good. Also, Far Cry 4 has, and then 3, well, 3 wasn't on PS4. That really took me on a journey which I liked a lot. Maybe those. Witcher 3 is still, I barely started it, so I won't be mentioning it more than that, but it's has all the right ingredients to become one of my favorites. But we'll see, we'll see. Then there was a question about my martial arts background. That probably would require a whole video to explain it truly, but let's try it in a short version, which is where I suck, as you know. I started in 2000, a Kung Fu style called Jolly Foot, and I had it for like 4 years. Then I changed to a other style, which is kind of related, but not the same, called Tang Lang Kung Fu. More kind of a street style Kung Fu. You have your shoes and it's more to the point, full combat. And then I did a little bit of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu when I was kind of bored how, well, let's put it this way. I wanted something different than, with your classic on your feet, punching and kicking and all that stuff. And I still do like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and submission wrestling or grappling, but I haven't been doing them for a long time. I got many years ago into more self-defense style. So I did Defendo for a few years. Then we had a couple of seminars related to Senshido or other reality-based self-defense stuff. And those are the kind of stuff I've been doing late years now. But all in all, about some 18 years of martial arts, mostly active during those years. But there have been some months pauses. For example, when I actually broke one of my bones in my right foot, so there were like a few months I couldn't practice, and between changing from one style to another, I think between Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and Tang Lang Kung Fu there was like few months, maybe less than 6, but anyway, when I didn't do that. But obviously I've been doing quite a lot. nowadays less days per week than before, but you get the idea anyway. So about 18 years of different styles. Number 5, regarding criticism slash reviewing, what makes a good critic? Now, once again, this is a question that probably needs a video of its own, but I'll try to put it quickly. First and foremost, I think the most thing about reviews is the news value. You haven't yet heard about this album or band, and the reviewer is basically telling you the news. You know, he takes an album, he or she, doesn't matter. Like, okay, we have this album, you haven't heard about this. This comes from Switzerland, it's their second album. This band was formed like 4 years ago, and blah blah blah. This is a team album about bullets that penetrate your head and all that stuff. And then we come to the critical point where this reviewer tells why it is a good or why it isn't a good thing, release, whatever. And that is always a subjective thing. You know, like, for example, I don't like all the albums you out there might do. And that's beside the point. Always the news value is the thing. I mean, reviewing the major names, you know, like mainstream names, that's kind of not so important in my opinion than reviewing the smaller ones, you know, because obviously when bands like Metallica, you know, they release an album, everybody knows it, whether they are a fan or not. So those right away Uber fans get the CD or LP or whatever right away. Doesn't really matter. And those that never liked Metallica, they're not gonna change their mind no matter what the review says. That's what I believe anyway. And as such, the value of reviewing albums from bands like Metallica, and it goes even further if we're talking about popular pop music, like, for example, some Rihanna or whatever. So they don't make as much sense as if I'm telling you about, say, some more like underground act. Because obviously, you might not have even heard about this band, not to mention the album. And you might be missing a lot of gems through the whole genre, just because it's impossible for everybody to know every band. Even most bands, you know, most guys, girls, whoever, are gonna miss the bands. There might be lots of jewels. I mean, for example, Metal Archives lists some 120,000 bands, and most bands have more than one release. Going through all of them is just impossible task for anyone. So reviewers' point, you know, to be a good critic is to try to understand the genre he or she is reviewing and the album and the band, and tell you a little bit of news value. And then there's also this critical point. Without critical point, it's not a review, it's just product description basically. And if it's only just, you know, listing those things which you find critical, like good or bad or whatever, it doesn't really make sense, because you cannot just decide the value of any given release for somebody else. So in that terms, those terms, I think you need to have different approaches to any album, any release out there, and combine them into one. Don't make it extra long, but don't keep it too brief either, because then it's of no use. And always one should remember that when a reviewer is talking about a release, one must not, you know, assume that the person who is reading or watching a video review knows anything about the band. So every time one has to start from the beginning and maybe repeat some words that were used before. It kind of gets repetitive after a while, but that's how it goes, because there will be always the first timer to get the review. So we just cannot go along. Like, everybody knows Slayer, so let's cut to the chase. Well, one can basically do that with bands like Metallica and Slayer, but I don't think that's a way of good critic to do that. If you want more opinion or more detailed answer, well, we can continue with another topic, but this is, in my opinion, a short version. Number 6, what inspired you to start reviewing and interviewing, as well as for the matter? To be honest, I have always been kind of a critical in my mind. I've been always, you know, handing out some reviews. I think that dude is 5 out of 10. That game is 4 out of 5, and so forth. So obviously when I was younger and listening a lot of different music, I was kind of basically like devouring new albums. Um, I started actually creating these kind of descriptions for a online record store around 2000, 2001 maybe. And then I had done them like dozens, I guess. And then I read about this media, Finnish online media, imperiumi.net, which was new. It was gonna take place of a magazine, kind of a metal magazine that ended. So I like, what the hell? Maybe I just basically send my CV, if you will. Like I told what I've been doing, and maybe I could do some reviews. Mostly about black and death metal because that's mostly what I listened to already back then, anyway. And yeah, there was like, okay, you can write, and you seem to know your stuff, at least on the level that you're able to do reviews. And I guess that kind of gave me the idea. I was already disappointed to this Imperium's predecessor, where there was this kind of like two-page black death metal extreme pages, and the reviews just totally sucked. So I wanted to kind of prove that I can do it better. And to be honest, and while not boasting, I still think that I did a lot better. I've been doing this almost 17 years now or whatever, and well, obviously not all people like what I say or write. Doesn't matter. They have their own opinions, and that's really good. But I still think that rather having like three sentences like, okay, this band is from Colombia, their logo is a mess, I don't like this, 2 out of 5, it's not a review, it's not a proper review. So I read longer ones. Sometimes I just go off-road and explain too much. Sometimes I probably should do more sentences anyway. But that's what I do. I mean, everybody like what I do, but anyway, that's kind of got me the idea. And obviously interviews came along with the idea of being kind of a freelancer journalist of sorts. I used to do them in written form, but to be honest, since nobody pays for that stuff, and it's really takes a lot of job time and whatnot, and I don't find that, to be honest, that fun. So I quit doing written interviews. But when I figured out that maybe we could do video material, video interviews and now video reviews. So why the hell not? These are easy for me to do, and I like more this kind of a face-to-face thingy. So that's how Rauta got started some almost 18 months ago. Question number 7, nutrition and workout. Some people figured out that I probably should tell you something about nutrition and workout. Nutrition related to workout, because I did that workout video because it was requested. To be honest, I go by the gut feeling most of the time. I mean, I want to make sure that I get a big load of protein, obviously, and I want to make sure that I get carbs and that I don't eat too much fat. But I'm not the type of person who, calculates the macro values. I know it would be smarter to do that. But then again, I'm not a competitive type in sports anyway. I mean, like some sort of competition, but I don't have the time, the luxury of dedication to do that. There are just too much stuff I need to do and focus on that, and I started too late, kind of. So I don't feel like I'm gonna compete that much. I've taken a couple of times like less seriously, and as such I don't find any reason to make this like 100% serious. I mean, I totally respect people who do that, who have the time and the will to do that. There's no point eating like whatever if you can eat like proper clean. I try to keep my shape so that my belly isn't just big wobbly Jabba the Hutt type of thing, but beyond that, I mean, I don't pay that much attention. I'm not a good nutrition guy. I know the general ideas. I can pretty much know on my gut feeling what to eat, what to not. I don't eat much candy, and I eat more protein-based food and all that stuff. So very simple, and I like to keep it that way. But I know could always do it more optimal style. Tattoos and their story. Well, that's another long one. I try to go briefly. So I'm kind of like this written tattoo style, and I know that for some people it's stupid. Like, why write a book on your, I don't know, shoulder or whatever. But for me, it's more. I've never been a visual person. I'm more like a person who likes to verbally explain the things I do have, and having it all visually would be even more complicated. Then again, it's more also vague. I'm gonna try to make a point. But always, of course, tattoos are more visual as well, so it's kind of divided. Without taking too much clothes on, I'm just gonna give you a brief idea. So if you hear example, I have this Chaos bullet logo, and that is always related to my band Annihilados. It was my first one. Originally, when I was younger, like 18, 19, when I originally wanted to have a Chaos Star tattoo, because I've kind of been a fan of idea, chaos, nature, all that stuff. It took me a lot of years to figure out which way I want to actually get inked into my skin, and when it became kind of obvious that, hey, maybe it should be about my band. So here we go. It's this bullet design, which was the idea was coming from me, but my friend actually drew it. Later on, I wanted to complement the tattoo here with the Latin idea. I don't know if you can see that. Civis pacem parabellum. That means if you want peace, prepare for war, and that is kind of related to my martial arts background. I mean, I'm not a man of war as such. Man of war, kind of a wordplay. I mean, everybody should kind of strive for peace, but there's some terms in which way. And to me, it kind of symbolizes that don't be a soft target. Don't be an easy target, anyway. If that needs to be more explained, I'll do it. Then this memento mori is old Roman saying like, hello, you're gonna die, or you're mortal. That actually turned this mori become moi, which is very common Finnish hello, and as such it means that we're all mortals, remember you're gonna die, so maybe you should, just not waste your time. It's basically like the more harsh version of Carpe Diem. If you have no clue what else to do, Google it up, you'll find out. Res non verba is a different version of the phrase acta non verba, which means like actions, not words. And it's kind of ironic, I realize, because I talk a lot, but I also do a lot. So my point is, rather than just like, oh, I'm just gonna smoke, I'm gonna smoke, stop smoking. Like, stop it, don't talk about it. I'm gonna cut some weight. Cut weight, then come back to me that you cut some weight. I'm gonna start training at the gym. Well, start training at the gym. Don't make empty promises. It's all about that, basically. So, like, deliver. Don't just promise to deliver. Simple as that. Then there is this left arm thing, devotion, which is counterpart of discipline. This is, like I always say, right hand is the stuff that, it's reason, the mind, the kind of stuff you need to do. Discipline. Go and do your workout. But also, remember that you have to have sort of a devotion, dedication, maybe some passion. It's not about just living in a ascetic way and just mattress and a piss pot, but you also have to have the things that kind of things of desire in a way. It might be family, it might be kid, it might be your band, it might be your fiancé, wife, whatever. So this devotion is like, be devoted to something. We might be just, cynical fucks and all that stuff, but you get the idea. And then there's this horse hammer. It's related to the very fact that I'm very much into Viking mythology, been since a kid. This has nothing, absolutely nothing political behind it, even though some people might claim that, but I want to underline it's nothing political. It's just, kind of a symbol of kind of a strength, inner and outer, and it's also this Viking kind of heritage kind of thing. Thor, the thunder god, had some kind of nice ideas, being a kind of a protector of man, humankind, and all that stuff. So I wanted to include it because, like I said, I've been kind of a Viking fan since I was a little kid, reading those Viking stories when they were like children's comics and all that stuff. And almost now, last but not least, here's the Titan Atlas holding the planet Earth here. And that's one of the Greek titans, also a mythological creature, as much as Thor. And it's also a symbol of strength, which is then again related to powerlifting. And then there's like one other tattoo, which is like hard to show here. It's the snake, basically, the serpent circling around and biting its own tail, Ouroboros. And it's also said like this text is like written. I cannot show you, but pain is sweetness leaving the body. That's also kind of related to this discipline idea, and it's like you just have, sometimes you have to bite the bullet in order to kind of survive. That, look, don't make yourself a victim and all that stuff. Now it's just getting blurry. Zoom working. So I kind of like to have a message behind every tattoo, and as such I don't take them lightly. I don't want to make myself regret that I took this like a face of a tiger here. Now when I'm going to get it re-inked, because I actually figured that I'm not a tiger person. So all those tattoos have a story. So last question, what do you think of the 2019 SteelFest lineup? And in order not to forget to mention bands, I actually opened the page here, so I can pretty much mention some of the bands for you people out there who are not aware. So they're like bands like Mysticum, Marduk, Immolation, Enva, Nargarath, Horna, and lots of other names. To be honest, I'm kind of divided. Most of these bands are definitely interesting, but also bands that have been performing in Finland already, like Mysticum, Marduk, Immolation, Enva, Nargarath, Horna. All the bands I pretty much listed there are the kind of bands that have been going to Finland already. Also the bands like kind of comeback bands like Oceans, Trollheim Squad. These are really interesting to see because they just recently came back. Also bands like Einherjer and Nagelfar, Galsvurd, the ex-Gorgoroth guy. So lots of interesting bands from different levels of kind of success, so to speak. Also some interesting Canadian bands like Deletere. I don't know how to pronounce it. And it's pretty much nicely balanced between death metal and black metal. It's going to be a real extreme fest, and it might be in fact one of the better lineups of SteelFest like ever. And I'm not going to bitch about like Marduk is again on SteelFest. I mean, they did Steel Chaos, and they were previously doing SteelFest with their what the hell, what album it was? But it's kind of a 20th anniversary thing. I think it was this Hemshall Burn. And now it's Panzer Division Marduk. So it's different thing because it's kind of a anniversary thing. I know not all people like that, but anyway, I'm not complaining. For example, Panzer Division Marduk is my favorite Marduk album. So I'm really happy to see them and hope to finally get the interview, because I never got to do it at Steel Chaos due to the manager or whatever not even replying to my email about that. So lots of cool bands, and what can I say, it's gonna be a hard time to see them all, especially if I have to do interviews and whatnot. So really cool lineup, and I think nobody should miss it. If you're coming to Finland, or if you're a Finnish resident and metalhead, there's no reason why not to go to SteelFest if you are into extreme metal at all. So all in all, like I said, it's gonna be a real blast and one of the better, if not the best, SteelFest lineup so far. Lots of cool bands, lots of great live bands. So there's not much more than I can really hope for. No, there was 9 questions, 30 minutes in, and I think it's time to finish this one. Also, got this brand new Flagain t-shirt as a gift from my friend who plays in the band. I wanted to include this in the video as a thank you to the guy. He might not be watching even. And also, if you're a fan of the band, now these t-shirts are available at limited print run. So get yourself a nice cult Finnish black metal t-shirt, especially if you're a fan of the band. And if not, hey, Northern Heritage probably still has those LPs and CDs for sale for you to check out, one of the better bands in the Finnish black metal scene. Did I forget something? Probably. And should you have more questions, as always, keep them coming, either here under the comment section, or then on Discord, or finally, you can always send me email. My email address will be found on YouTube, Rauta's YouTube page, under the information tag, whatever. Click just the button for the email address and you'll find it. And also through Facebook page, which is more or less active. I'm usually quite fast to respond to your questions, be it private or on the page. What else? You probably have some questions which I have forgotten to add to this list. So they will be answered in the next AMA. And if there are more than enough in short near future, I'll come back sooner, but otherwise maybe see you on this AMA video next February, before Turku Saatanalle Metal Festival is taking place. So thank you for watching / listening, and see you soon with more interviews and reviews coming up. There will be 3 different interviews coming up from Steel Chaos 2018, so stay tuned, stay metal, stay true.